Recorded, please. Says the Gemara, we're Maseches Bava Kama Daf Nun Hey Amud Beis in the bottom of the page. Yeah, Nun Amud Beis, bottom of the page. We are recapping on yesterday. This year's Leilu Nishmas of Meiri Menachem Ben Akiva, Ruth Bas Shalom Sol Bas Moshe, and Lerefuas Noach Lionel Ben Yuli Oriya, Lerefuas Yudis Bas Rivka, Osher Ben Esther Eidel, Avram. Okay. Shmuel Avram Ben Yudis B'soch Shachol Yisrael. Tanya. First wide line at the bottom of Nun Hey Amud Beis. Tanya. Everything we're going to learn today, or 90% of this year, is going to be about different types of Gerama. A lot of exciting news I have for you today. You think you know everything about Gerama? Soon you're going to know more. Tanya Omar B'Yeshua. B'Yeshua says in the Brisa, about Dvorim, there are four things. There are four things that a person, if he does them, kinds of damages which are indirect, no hands damage, remote control damage, and if you did them, you are poter midine odom, which means you don't, Beis Din cannot force you. Listen carefully to the new definition. Poter midine odom means if Beis Din cannot force you to pay the money that you took or the damage you did. However, in Din Shamayim you chayv. What does it mean, chayv b'din shamayim? That means three things. Chayv b'din shamayim means that Hashem is not in love with this ma'aseh and he will be punished for it. Chayv b'din shamayim also means that if the person himself does tshuva or goes to his rabbi to confess, not to the priest, to the rabbi, and he's asking, what shall I do? Well, you got to pay. You really do have to pay. Beis Din cannot force you to do it, but your own honesty, so to speak, should make you pay. Thirdly, says the Meiri, what did I always tell you? That the Gerama guy should not be a shidduch for my daughter. That's nice. That's a kind of punishment because my daughter is a nice girl. But says the Meiri something more concrete, and that is that Beis Din would not accept him to be an aid. Which means if Beis Din knows that this person is a Gromanik, is a person who's chai b'dinei shamayim, is really a gazlan, we don't have the koyach, we don't have the power. We as Beis Din are not empowered to actually see the what? That he's a gazlan. We don't see it on the screen, so to speak. But Lamaisi is a gazlan, and we know it. Gazlan, mazik, mimela, he's not kosher to be an aid. If he wants to testify for someone's court case, we're not going to accept him. That's a huge nafkamina, but dine odom as well. So we can't force him to give back the whichever damage he caused in an indirect way. But we can definitely disqualify him to be an aid. And that's what the Meiri says. Okay, and that will help us a lot also to understand something else in the sugya later on.
Be an aid for anything?
A gazlan cannot be an aid for anything. No, I don't think so.
No,
in Beis Din, of course, it was a Beis Din. No, can't chasan either. Mapitam, no. I don't know if it's worse. Yeah, it's as bad. Chasan and Eidim are very, very instrumental. I think you mean worse, Jeff, because you say that there's a Rashba in Kiddushin that the aid at the wedding is not a technical thing to know that there was a wedding, but it's part of the Ma'aseh Kiddushin. It's like, I don't know, it's a very deep thing. It's together with the ring and the actual Ma'aseh Kiddushin are the Eidim. It's not just a technical thing to know that the Chaim Yankel marriage Prince of Bela, it's a technical. So, yeah, the kids are no. And the person who's a poor, it's a person who, I don't know, Vosno said, a person who has the open internet and he's, I don't know, who looks at pritzes, is possible to aid. In Chasana, he puzzled people for Chasana. So to a gazlan is possible for Chasana. Yeah, right. Good point. Right there. Yeah. What are those four things? The Eluhen, these are the things. A person who, what did he do? He broke the door, he broke the gader, he broke the pen of the where the behema is, and now the behema is free to go. He didn't touch the behema. The behema chose from some odd reason to go out. He didn't take out the behema. He just cracked open the wall. He broke the wall, and now the animal is free to go. Now the animal went out, and the animal caused it's a loss for the bailim, can be also loss for the person damaged later on by the behema. But that person, bedine adam, is poter. Second, the person who bent down, who actually took the kama, took the wheat and barley, took the cereals as they were growing, and he bent them over, and then the fire came The fire came and consumed them. So he made it available for the fire. Okay, everything we'll discuss later. There's no reason to ask now. A person who for money, he asks people for money to be false witnesses. He'll give them a lot of money, so it's worth it, or so they think. And then somebody he hired what? Hired corruption. Only if he paid money. We'll discuss more. Only if he paid, not if he told them. Only if he's a paying guy. And then there's money who was lost because what did they do? They testified that Reuven owed Shimon 10,000, and the 10,000 went out of Reuven's pocket. It's false. A person is called koivish edusoi. A person who knows edus, he knows that something really happened to his friend. He knows he's a witness, and he saw the car of the bad guy hitting your car, and he knows it's the bad guy's fault, but he's scared of the bad guy. So now what does he do? He's not saying the edus. He's passively not cooperating, not going to Beis Din, and you losing the money. Now you lost your car, the insurance, whatever. And therefore, that person is chayiv b'dinei shamayim, but potur b'dinei odom. Amar Mar. Everything will be explained with Ezra Hashem. Amar Mar. A lot of very interesting perushim over here. Amar Mar. So first of all, is the Meiri. We said the Meiri already. Amar Mar. Now we're going to analyze 4 cases. What was my question yesterday? Only 4. There are many, many more. We'll see that in the Gemara. Amar Mar. What's the story of the person who broke the fence where the animal was standing? What's the story? What's the inyan? If the koisel itself was a healthy one, meaning a good stable wall, then he broke a wall with his own hands, with his own bare hands and sledgehammer. What did he do? He broke. If so, he should be chayiv b'dinei odom. Forget about the behemoth for a second. It's a misleading statement. Tosfos says you're saying he's potter b'dinei odom. Well, it sounds like the entire court case is potter Beis Din can't be chayav on anything. It's not true. The wall he broke the wall was a good wall, and he broke it with his own hands. The behemoth, I understand, he didn't touch. It went out by itself. But the wall, he should be chayav on that. If it's a good wall, he broke a wall. Ela. Therefore, the Gemara wants to say Nudvav Mud Aleph. It's a koisel ra'ua. It's an unstable wall. It's a shaky, bakey wall, a shaky wall. Says Rashi, very interesting idea. Look at Rashi, the first Rashi on the page. Deloi afsede, he did not cause him any loss. Delamistal koi. This is a wall that should have been demolished long ago. This wall should have been demolished, and as we'll see later in Tosfos, this wall is a public hazard. And therefore, the person who breaks it is actually doing a favor to the public, and also he's not damaging the person. You're not supposed to have that wall over here. That behemoth, that's a different story. The fact that the behemoth is now out and about, that is clear Gerama. Why? I'm not touching it. Mashenk in the wall that I touched and actually broke, that's not a bad thing at all. You're supposed to break it long ago. It's a hazardous thing, and therefore it's not called that it caused you a loss. It's ki'il already demolished in the eyes of halacha, or should be demolished. And therefore, the person who broke it is not chayiv at all. Not even, b'dinei odom. He's not chayiv. Yes. The behemoth, he broke the wall. The behemoth was mooing and oohing, and then the behemoth said, "Ooh, that's cool. It's an open door." The behemoth by itself went out. Nobody invited it out. So he caused the behemoth to go out, but he didn't touch it. That's classical music. Sorry. It's classic drama. Oh, mama, I was confused classical with classic. Oh, mama, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, mama, second case. Oh, that's an interesting one. What would be the case of a person who bent the kama? The kama is the sheaves as they're standing up, not the sheaves, the stalks as they're growing. He bent it, and then he took off his hands, but the thing is still bent somehow. He managed to maneuver it somehow that it's still there in that angle. He saw the fire coming. The fire sooner or later consumed it. There was fire already coming towards the thing, and now because of his positioning the kama that way, that's why the kama burned. So now, Hechidami, what's the story exactly? Frag the Gemara, and here comes a big chiddush. If the fire is likely to come and consume the wheat, beruach mitzuya, with regular common wind, which means it's very likely because of your positioning it this way, and you did a ma'aseh beyadayim to listen carefully to what I'm saying. This is after a lot of hard work in the Rishonim. Yeah. After, you positioned it in such a way that takes it to the trajectory of the fire. So even though you let off your hands off at the actual time when it burnt, says the Gemara, bedine odom nami nechayev, you chay bedine odom. In other words, if you took a person, you tied him, you tied him and you took him to the road where a big truck is coming, or I don't know, truck is, and truck cannot see him. So you chayev retzicha. Why? Because Lamaisa, you're the one who brought him beyadayim to the place where the truck is not a good example. There's an example in Sanhedrin. A person, the son also, Bitka Demaya, that's from the Gemara in Sanhedrin, Daf over there, Ein Zayin, Ein Ches. Let's say you take a person, you tie him, and you take him to a place to the beach. He was in the house. You tie him up, you take him to the beach where it's going to get very, very hot eventually, and the sun is going to burn him, mamish burn him to death. Then you're chayiv. You chayiv. Why? Because it's called a ma'aseh beyadayim. Even though you didn't burn him beyadayim, you didn't bring the sun rays to his face. 1 second. But l'maaseh, you brought him to a place where sooner or later, for sure, the damage will come. You are a roitzeach. If it's a person, in the case of the kama, you're called a mazik. So it's not called a goma. That's a ma'aseh beyadayim. You took your own hands, you bent the kama to a place where the fire surely or almost surely is going to come. That's called ma'aseh beyadayim. My friend says Tosfos and Agoy Sashri. I will not accept questions now. Thank you. Can I wait for a minute? Sorry, minute. Ela. So why do we say that this is a goma? The fire, naturally speaking, if the common wind, the regular wind, would not bring the fire from where it is right now to the wheat. The wheat and the fire will coexist nicely. Fire over here and wheat over here. And I went and I bent down the kama. Why? For the fun of it. All of a sudden came a gust of wind, a hurricane. I'm an Israeli. I'm not used to hurricanes and tornadoes. I don't know what they are. A big hurricane came, a big wind, unexpected came and swoosh and took the fire into the area of the wheat and burnt the wheat. That was something unexpected by me. I could claim I didn't know it's going to happen. So the claim I didn't expect it is good enough in Beis Din. They cannot force me to pay because it was sort of unexpected. But B'dinei Shamayim I'm chayev. Why? Shamayim are more demanding than Odom. And in Shamayim, it's all a lot of Rishonim, what I'm telling you now. B'dinei Shamayim, really, the person should have known better. B'dinei Shamayim, the person should have anticipated that maybe unusually strong wind would bring the fire into the kama to where you position the kama. Don't forget, at the end of the day, he's the one who positioned the kama in an angle that would affect the fire. In Meila, in the case of a regular wind, it's ma'aseh b'dei Odom, and Yichayv b'dinei Odom, Beis Din. Unexpectedly strong wind, that is only chayv b'dinei Shamayim, but not b'dinei Odom. Yes, Yitzchok. And then Jeff. Yes, I'm with you. No, I'm sorry.
You knew that something's going to happen. You thought it's going to happen.
No.
For example,
go ahead.
if you tied somebody on the beach.
Yeah. In English, we say it's the thought that counts. Well, it's very nice when it comes to, I don't know, anniversary day or something like that. But Thanksgiving, Mazel Tov to all the Americans. Good Yom Tov, I mean. But Lamaisa, we don't always say it's the thought that counts. Here we see numerous cases where a person has very vicious ideas in his mind, and yet we're not mechayiv him. The thought that it's the thought that counts is good for Dinei Shamayim, but not for Beis Din. Even if Beis Din can actually prove that the guy's a vicious, sly person, and he wanted the animal to go out, or he wanted the fire to go there, the Maisa, you can't, as long as they do Maisa beyadayim, you can't claim anything of him. You're right, Yitzchok, that the thought counts when it comes to Din Shamayim. In Shamayim, they know that you're a vicious person that have bad kavanos, or you should have known better. Not you, of course. Then you're a wonderful person. But that person is vicious. Mimela, they say, you chai b'dinei Shamayim. For example, Yitzchok, I want to refer to what you said now. In Sanhedrin, there are two cases. Let's say a person is on the beach. He's already on the beach and he's having a nice suntan. Why not? Ben Azmanim, a Friday, long Friday. And he's intending to go home in 20 minutes and a nice suntan lotion and finished. Now the person comes and ties him to the beach. Yeah. In other words, he's koftoi, he ties him when it's nighttime. It's nighttime even, dafka. But tomorrow the sun is going to come and hit him on the face and the body is going to burn him. Potu. Why is he potu? Why is he potu? Because he didn't actually move into the new place where the sun is. The person is already in the sunny place. I'm tying him to the place where the sun is going to come tomorrow, but I'm not moving him from place to place. I'm making him stay in the same place, and halacha is not called rotzeach. I now left him in a place which is very dark and cool. The beach at night is cool. And now tomorrow the sun's going to come and I know it, and there's no way he can get out of his shackles. Nobody's around. And Mimela tomorrow is going to burn and die. Then I am not, or water or fire, either this or the guys, it's true also, the waves are going to come in Hawaii. In such a case, the person is potu, even though he's a vicious murderer. Why? Because he didn't move him b'yadayim from place to place. He makes him stay in the same place. Mashenkin, if you took him from the house, an example before was exact. If you took him from his cool air-conditioned house to the beach and ties him there, that's a ma'aseh b'yadayim, similar to me taking the wheat and moving it and putting it, angling it in such a way where the fire will for sure will come. That is called ma'aseh b'yadayim, because actually moved him from place to place. That's aloha. That's a different thing. I'm sorry, I'm being very difficult today with you people. Is something else. We know what happened. Even if two Adim saw exactly what happened, two Adim saw everything. They saw that he tied him to the beach and they didn't do anything. They saw he tied him to his bleach chair. They saw everything. It's not circumstantial. They saw everything like video cameras, like hawks. The Maisa is potu, because his Maisa is not called a direct Maisa. Circumstantial evidence means something else. But thank you. Last for this session of questions, yes. Rav Ashi Omar, continue with more another answer. Chomun itmal, which means, do you remember the one exception to the rule regarding fire? When is fire potu? When it is tomun. Tomun means like hatmona on Shabbos, which everybody knows about. Tomun means hidden treasure. Which means, let's say the fire consumed something like wheat that was covered by tarp, was covered by a piece of fabric. Okay, so then the person who set the fire and the fire came eventually to the field is potter. It says, "Oh, kama makama begolu yefkolshu begolu." Only uncovered, exposed things you chayv. Look what this guy did. What a vicious guy. You know what he did? He saw the fire coming. Our friend, the Gerama guy, Mr. Gerama, Mr. G, Mr. Gerama. What did he do? He covered it quickly. He covered the wheat quickly when he saw the fire coming. The fire was set by somebody else, but he wants the wheat owner not to be able to claim anything in Beis Din against the fire setter, against the arsonist. So then what does he do? He covered the Kama. Once the Kama is covered, you can't claim anything in Beis Din. That's what he did. Again, a person is the vicious Talmid Chacham. Unfortunately, there are many of them around. Yeah, the person knows that if fire came and consumed Kama means not to, yeah, Kama means anything that roast stalks, wheat, barley, whatever. Yeah. Now, stalks and cereals. Now, if the Kama is covered, yeah, and the fire consumed it, halacha says the fire setter is usually, the exception, usually not chayiv. That's exeres hakosuv. Just like you have exceptions by bor, right? The person falling in, you have exceptions by keren, you have exceptions by everything. Everyone has his kivyochol mishigas, kivyochol, his own thing. The mishigas of Eish is what? It's not covered. Anything covered is not, excuse the pun, covered by Beis Din. Beis Din will not cooperate with it. Say if it was covered, then the one who set fire, I know the chavona, the one who set fire in his house, and eventually the fire came and burnt your covered wheat, was covered by tarp, covered by something, covered by plastic, potter. Okay? Now comes Mr. Gerama, and this is an alternative teretz to Kosef Kamosri. Ravashi says, Tomun itmal. The real version of the Bryce of Rabbi Shua is, the story is Tomun. Let's say I'm a vicious guy, or I'm too friendly with a fire guy, and I'm not friendly with a wheat guy. And I say, oy vey voy, the wheat of the fire of Mr. Fireman is eventually, sooner or later, is going to come and burn the wheat. Yeah. Now, I don't want Mr. Wheat to take Mr. Fire to Beis Din. What do? I use my knowledge of Chumash. Oh, I cover the wheat quickly. So now when the fire is going to come and burn it, it will be covered. And then Mr. Wheat will not be able to claim from Mr. Fire and Beis Din. No, not technically, halachically. If the fire consumes something that is physically covered, you have a bunch of wheat, wheat, barley, and it was covered by tarp, covered stam, because Juan, the worker, covered it. Okay, so halacha says gzeres hakosuf. I'm sure there are reasons, I don't know what they are. Gzeres hakosuf, if anything is covered, like wheat, barley, cereal, rice, are covered by something, and fire burnt them, the ball of fire is patul. I don't know why. That will be a sugya later on. Now, the one who's covering it is not doing a nezik b'yadayim. He's covering. Well, the mice, of course, is causing nezik. Why? Because now the wheat owner will not be able to claim what he would otherwise deserve in Beis Din. Give me a second. Mishum deshavia tamun be'esh. He made it tamun in the fire, as explained. Yes, Peretz, Arab Peretz. Yeah. Let's continue. Case number 3. A shaker. A person hired, I would say, false witnesses. He hired the false witnesses. And now the question is, what do we say before the question? So he's got to pay. Now, those Adim, they gave false testimony. They caused Reuven to lose, obviously in a very unjustifiable way, I don't know, $10,000. The one who hired them he doesn't have to pay $10,000 but Bidin Shamayim, he does. And if he wants to be an honest person, then he does. Hey Chidam, what's the story? Who are the Balidinim? If the person himself is one of the plaintiff, not the plaintiff, one of the litigants, if the person is the one who he's actually the plaintiff, he's the Tovea. He's the one, he's Reuven, his name is Reuven. He wants to get from Shimon 10,000 pounds, that's more than dollars, and there's no 10,000 pounds owed to him. He says, great, I'll pay 1,000 pounds for 2 nice gentlemen. They will come to me and be made on my side. They're working for him. And they say, yeah, Shimon owes Reuven, we know for sure 10,000, a whole fib. What's the lie? Fib. Yeah, you got your British word for the day. It's a fib, right? It's all fib. And Mimela, now, Zog the Gemara, if he's the one who got the money because of the false testimony that he hired for his own self, why doesn't he have to pay? Right now, in his own, fashtunk in a pocket, he has 10,000 pounds belonging to someone else. Of course he's got to pay. Frag the Gemara, screaming, Mamoina by Shlumi. Of course he's got to pay the money. Bedine Odom namni chayiv. Bedine Odom, we should be chayiv, because I don't care if it's Gerama, Shmama, or Kmama. Lamaisa, you have 10,000 pounds in your pocket, which now everybody knows, because obviously this story was revealed at some point. Everyone belongs to Yanit. That's called, by the way, this kind of thinking is called, it's a term in the Rishonim, which doesn't exist in the Gemara. The Rishonim speak many about it, and they define it as Mamani Gabach. Yeah, when it's on Yeshivish, Mamani Gabach means my money is by you. I don't care how it got to you. Gerama, Nezikin, from Prince Abel. At the end of the day, my money is by you, and everybody knows it. Pay me back. So you're telling me you're not Chabdin Odom. Pay me back. And therefore, we change the scenario, and that's true. Ela lechavre must be no, it's for his friend, which means I'm a nice guy. I'm such a nice guy, and I know Reuven once. My name is Akiva. Thank you. Naim, nice to meet you. And I have a good friend called Reuven, and I want Reuven to get some money from Shimon. So I hire Adim to help illegally help Reuven in his case against Shimon. Okay, and I, Akiva, the sheker renter, I ask whatever else, Shmerl and whoever and someone and Naftali, I ask them to be made for Reuven, that Shimon took 10,000 from him. So I didn't get the money. The money is not in my pocket. Where's the money? In Reuven's pocket. Now everything, the fib was discovered. Now what do? I have to pay Shimon the money. You may ask, why not Reuven? Says Tosfos, you can see Tosfos, כגון שאין לך, דיבר מסחיל אלא לחברי, כגון שאין לחבר מה לשלם. Let's say Reuven has no money. Reuven spent all the money. Got the 10,000, he right away paid all his debts. He right away paid for rent. It's gone. The money is gone. In spite of Corona, he managed to hop on a plane and went to Acapulco. So Lamaisa, Reuven is not there. So if Reuven is not there to give the money, right, then what would we say? Then we'd say that who has to pay the money? Well, I would have to pay the money. No, because it's Bedine Shamayim. But if Bedine Odom, Bedine Odom, I don't have to pay. Bedine Shamayim, I have to pay. Where's the money? The money itself, gone. Reuven is not there anymore to pay it, or he spent all the money and he doesn't have any more money. He's a liar. He deserves it. Yeah. Okay. That's the story. Says Tosfos. Yeah, I'm not reading inside, but you can look if you want. El Lechabre says Tosfos. Maybe read inside a few words. Bedavka soicher. Only if he rented them, hired them for money. Aval Omar, if he only told them and told them, please have Eidus, be made Eidus shekel for Reuven. Do me a favor. Be nice. Be made Eidus shekel for Reuven. He's convincing them, cajoling them, coaxing them, but he doesn't pay them kesef money or geld. Potu medine shamayim. Wow. He's even potu medine shamayim. Even in shamayim, he doesn't have to pay medine shamayim even. Why? The sover shelo yishme'u, because he thinks that they're not going to listen to him. In other words, it's their fault. We're going to see later on a svara, which appears in Kiddushin, Membeis, and other places. If I talk to a sane, normal person and I tell him, go do the Avera, not you, you wouldn't listen to me, yeah? If I say to someone, go do the Avera, and he goes and he does the Avera, it's his fault and not mine, except for Masis, which is a different story. But Lamaisa, when it comes to Dinah Nezikin Mominus, the one who actually did the Nezek, let's say I told someone, go burn the house of someone without paying him, without payment. No hiring, no paying, no renting, no shmenting. So then the one convincing the person, again, shidduch for my daughter, he wouldn't be, but bedine shamayim is potu, because lamais, it's full responsibility over the one acting and not over the one operating him. Masha'enkin, if you paid money, once he gives money, money changes as we all know, money changes people's minds like that. You talk about money, people's minds are completely twisted right away to any direction. When you pay money for someone to do the Avera, then he is chayiv, of course, Eidus shekel or Rosh. But the one who's chayiv b'dinei shamayim is the one who is the operator, the one sending them on the mission to do the bad thing with money. Okay? And shlichut v'avera, beautiful, very good, very good, very good, very good, Jeff. You're saying the right term, very good. So now, so good. So Lamai says lechavri. That's case number 3. Case number 4. A person knows an edus. A person knows that somebody hit your new car, Lila, and what? And he knows it, and he keeps shtum, he keeps quiet. Why? Because he doesn't want to give you edus. So what do we say? Is chayiv b'dinei shamayim. Chayiv b'dinei shamayim. It's an avera. It's a bad thing to do or not to do. To refrain from edus, to hold yourself back, is an avera. Says the Gemara. What? What's the chiddush? What's the story over here? What are we talking about? If there are 2 edim, and as we know, as opposed to court, in BSD, who works? How many edim do you need? Of course, 2. So if Reuven is begging, who? Yeah, he's begging Shmerel and Naphtali, please come and be made for me. And they say, no, we won't. And there are 2 edim, and they know that he's owed 50,000 shekels. They know that he's owed Shita. Of course, they're chayav b'dinei shamayim. Of course, it's an avera that Hashem is angry with you, and it's a severe issue. The Oraisu, it's written outright in the Torah. Look in Vayikro, Perek Hey, if I'm not mistaken, but Korban Olav Yored. It says, Im lo yogid v'nosa avoinoi. If he won't say the edus, if he doesn't utter his edus, nosa avoinoi, he'll carry his sin. Now, although it says Yagid 1, there's a rule at the beginning of Soito. It says whenever the Torah says aid, automatically means 2 edim, because aid in the Torah, except for 3 exceptions, aid always means 2 people. Edim, they come in pairs of 2. Yeah, like I don't know, anything that comes in 2, we say 1, you really mean 2, whatever. Yeah. So Mimela, What's a chiddush? What are you telling me here to say that it's not chad b'dinei Odom? I know he's not doing anything actual and real. To say that it's chad b'dinei shamayim, well, I learned chumash already. What are you telling me? Ela, the chiddush is bechad, punto. What does it mean? I'm asking the one witness. There's only one witness who saw the thug, that hit my car. Only one guy saw that. I'm asking, come to Beis Din to help me. Is there any help he can give me if he testifies in Beis Din or zero? What can one aid do in Beis Din? No. One thing you can do. What? Good, but I said in Beis Din. As I said, there are three things the Eid Echad can do. One to get Echad and be suing to tell if it's kosher or not kosher, or she can tell if she's nida or not. Also, Eid Echad for a dead person for his wife or almana. But in Beis Din, money, and Eid Echad can force the other side to be nishbach. Eid Echad mechayev shvua. Yeah. Shnei Eidim says lo kamen echad beish lechol dover except for shvua, which means if one person comes and that person, the truck driver, the bum who hit my car, he comes to Beis Din and says I ain't done nothing, and I say yes you did, and then I have one aid. That one aid that comes to my aid, excuse the pun, he can actually make him be nishba. Basically, say, look, there's one aid that helps the victim and says that you did do it. Now that aid can force him by Beis Din to swear b'shvua with the Sefer Torah, the whole thing, that he didn't do it, and that scares off many people. That guy, the truck driver who hit my car, he may be a liar, but to nishba is mesorti enough. Shvua scares him off. So therefore, 1 second, I saw you, okay? So one aid is not zero. One aid can help the other person be nishba. Oh, that's the chiddush. The chiddush is that if one aid comes and he could say, I'm nothing. Why? Well, you're saying I can be mechayiv in shvua. Maybe he'll be nishba l'sheker. Maybe he will lie. It's not like a mamish making you lose money. By two aidim is like magic. The Gemara in Bava Basra, Mechavrusa showed me a Mefurish one, Kuf Nun Tes, Zeras Melech. The Rambam says 2 aidim is like a video camera. 2 aidim are above anything in halacha when it comes to proofs and evidence. B'sheikin 1 aid, shmua. Maybe he would lie, maybe to get out of it. It's not like 1 aid is mamish mechayiv you clearly money to take out money. So I would say that it's so indirect. My statement would make him nishba. He may not. Maybe I'm not chad b'dinei shamayim. Maybe I'm so minor in the story that not even dinei shamayim. Kamash malan, yes, b'dinei shamayim you're chayav, Mr. Silent Eid Echad. Jeffrey, please, I want to share. What? You don't ask? Why not? Okay, you can ask later if you want. Okay. Yeah, I'm willing to hear your question. Okay. Oh, here comes my question. So happy. Vetuleka, there's no other Gerama cases, only these 4, really? There are many others. We'll see later all kinds of cases Gemara alludes to now. Case number 1. A person made a melacha work. He worked with mei chatas. What does that mean? Let's say a person took mei chatas. Mei chatas is the water that was drawn from a river near Yerushalayim, and that water is supposed to be used for pora aduma. Eventually, they'll put the afer, the ashes of the pora aduma inside, and they will sprinkle it on the person who's tmeh mace. Who has to do the sprinkling? What? This is a terrible, common mistake. Don't feel bad. Everybody makes this mistake. Anybody can do it, except for maybe a woman and maybe a cotton. But every Jewish male can do it. It doesn't have to be a kohen. And it's 1,000,000%, I'm sure about it, more than many other things I'm sure about. So you're in good company. It's a very common mistake. It starts with a ganenet and all the stupid Haredi comics books that makes the same mistake. It's not a kohen. Okay? So now, let's say those mechatos, that jug full of mechatos, is very holy and very choshuv, and you're not allowed to do any work with it. Let's say you worked with it. How did you work? Let's say use it as scales. You took the jug full of mechatos, and you know that it weighs, I don't know, half a kilo, and you want to weigh your oranges against it. Against it. So now you worked with it, used it as a scale. Now you disqualified it. he disqualified the mechatos. It's hard work to get the whole process of paraduma. Nobody can use those mechatos for what? To purify people. And let's say those mechatos belong to someone. So now, do you owe him money? No, you're potur. Second case, paras chatos. You worked with a para. What's paras chatos? Para aduma. You took the red cow or red heifer. What did you do? You started plowing with it. Oh gosh. Until we have a red cow in the herd, it's such a rare thing. And now you worked with it, you plowed with it, you slept with it. So what? You are potter medina adam b'chai b'dinei shamayim. Why? Not because it's not ma'aseh b'yadayim. It's b'yadayim, but it's hezek she'eino nikah. Hezek she'eino nikah means if you ask Tim Mackenzie, he would tell you that looks like a nice red cow to me, and those water that look really nice and fresh. In other words, there's nothing physical that was changed in the cow or in the water. It's only halachically that we as Jews know that a state has changed halachically. So because it's hezek she'eino nikah, hezek which is not visible, okay, so you're not chayv on it. That's a bit out of the box. This case, it's not Gerama, but it's another case where you're not chayv because it's machlokes, by the way. The big machlokes in Gittin and Gimel, whether you're chayv or potter. There are those who say potter. And another question, now the Gemara is just going to bombard us with cases of Gerama, of potter b'dinei odom. Another one. This is good chazara for everybody here in Bava Kama. Anoisen samamovis bifnei be'emes chavero. Samamovis is poison. You placed poison, but it looks nice and tasty, and you positioned the poison in front of someone's cow or cat or dog. You didn't touch it. You didn't actually, so to speak, insert it in their mouth, but it's nice and tempting, and it's right 2 centimeters away from its nose and mouth, and the animal ate it and died. Are you chayiv? No. Potter b'dinei odom, chai b'dinei shamayim. Why are you potter b'dinei odom? I didn't touch anything. I didn't feed it. I gave it to her right in front. The animal chose to eat it, and therefore I'm potter, and that's it. What do you want me to do? However, b'dinei shamayim is chayiv. He's got to pay for the dead cow, and if he doesn't pay him, he's not going to get a shidduch from my daughter. Even worse, he's not going to be according to the Meiri, an aid in BSD. He's considered a gazlan. He does have a status of a gazlan, but we can't force him to give back the money's worth of the dead behema quickly. It's probably the last question for today, so enjoy it. We are almost in North Korea. Slowly, we're lifnei the behema. Lifnei is chait. Lifnei is by human beings. Either when you give bad advice to human being, or you cause him to do an avera, like a woman walking in pretzes in the street, or a person who gives bad advice to an investor. That's lifnei iver, but there's no lifnei iver me towards an animal. That's not the halachic definition. No. For a person, you can say you gave the person the wrong medication. A doctor gives bad medication. He's over lifnei iver. It's amazing, but that's not lifnei iver. The animal's not an iver. The animal's not lifnei iver meant a person. I've studied the studies well enough to know that no. Lifnei iver means you mislead the person with a bal bechira and you mislead him. I don't know. You can find out. I'm certain. It's one of the few things I'm certain about. No, lifnei iver means a person. No, it's a person who's misled because he doesn't know any better. Right? Okay. End of questions for today, unless they're really urgent. Pregnant or another case. The one who takes the mentally challenged person, the reminder, people who don't know what they're doing. In other words, and I tell him, hey, take the torch. The real torch, the torch that both Americans and English agree about, the one with the fire, that torch. Yeah, everyone knows that's very good. The torch, and he says, go and play around with it. And surprisingly, that person who's limited, he's very happy to walk around with it and burn whatever he wants. Fireworks, yeah. When is Guy Fawkes Day? Oh, soon, yeah. No, been already. Yeah, Potter Medina Odom v'chai b'dinei shamayim. So here you see another case where I tell a retarded person or something like that to take the fire. So I'm Potter. I didn't set the fire. It's Mr. Whatever special education, not me. But of course, b'dinei shamayim yuchayv. Zok toisves. What would be if the person that I sent the fire with would be an adult, which is old enough and responsible enough, and I sent the fire with him? Am I chayiv? No. You see, only not even b'dinei shamayim I'm not chayiv. Why? Because Jeffrey said very nicely, and shlechet ba'avera, the one who is the responsible person should have not listened to me unless I paid him money. If I paid him money to go set fire or go play with the fire, then the adult becomes a kimishugana. That's good. Either I told the Michigan person to do it, then I'm chayv b'dinei shamayim, or I told the good person who's paid money, and therefore that money sort of, intoxicates him. Mimela, that makes me chayv b'dinei shamayim. Another question. We are just bombarding now more and more questions and cases about other cases of Gerama. Hamavi says chavero. Ever happened to you that your child went like boom? Happens to me almost every time I come home. It's really not a surprise. Yeah, my 9 years old, she likes to boom me when I come home. I want to tell her, okay, I'm ready, prepared for that. So let's say a person scared of his friend, in the middle of the night, in the middle of a really scary, and the person was really scared, even to the point that something mental happened to him, right? He was so scared that can happen. He was traumatized, or he fell, but he didn't touch him. The Meiri says he didn't touch him while he did it. He only went, bah! Yeah, like that. Sorry. Yeah, he went, and now the person got all traumatized, and he needs to be by a psychologist for the next, 2 years. Same thing. Well, again, no shidduch for my daughter. He's not a nice guy, but he's not chayv b'dinei adam. Why he's not chayv b'dinei adam? No touching. The rule is no hands, no hands, no hands. Yeah, hands off. He's a white collar guy. He didn't touch anything. He just that's all he did. Mimela is I am ever so sorry if it's very quick and very to the point. Also, Chershoy, that's very nice. That's more classical example. Actually, I appreciate it. Let's say you screamed in his ear and you deafened him. Weiter. But that's more and more questions. Again, don't lose focus. What's the question here? Why do we only mention 4 cases when there are many more? Va'ika, another case which is a good review for us. Nishber kader b'rshus harabim. A person's kad, the person's jug, fell and broke in Rshus harabim. Veloy silko, and he did not remove it. He wanted to stay there, too busy. Noflu gmalo, his camel fell. Veloy amida, and he did not make his camel stand. In other words, he has his own property there, which is mafkir, yeah, and he just doesn't care about it. He says, okay, it's not mine anymore. So now the thing is there, and everybody can trample on it. Everyone trips on it. Abimeir mechayv bezekon. Abimeir says 2 things. First of all, the falling itself, nitkal poshea. I'm reminding you old memories, yeah. The nitkal person who bumped should have been more careful. Is the poshea. And also, even if you mafkir and nizikin, you're still chayiv. A bow, which is after you chayiv. However, chachomim, which is Rabbi Yehuda really over there, if you remember, chachomim say no. They say bumping is oines. The bumping was a mistake, an honest mistake, and we don't expect the person to be Superman. And also the fact he was mafkir, he's not a nice guy. He's chayv b'dinei shamayim. But if a person completely mafkir and has no interest in his own property left in Rshus harabim, he's not chayv b'dinei adam. So Lamaisa, we see yet case after case after case of Gerama, chayev b'dinei shamayim, poter b'dinei adam. So I'm mentioning only 4. Answers the Gemara in yes. Mia ikatuva, there are many. Says the Meiri, there are many more. This is just a small sample. There are many other cases in Bava Kama, all kinds of cases. I do something in my yard. I move something. All kinds of manipulations that I'm Gerama and I'm chayiv b'dinei shamayim, not b'dinei adam. However, finally we come to the answer. The hani tzrichalei. Those 4 cases are the ones which have to be mentioned. Why? Those 4 cases are in a way less severe than all the others. One would say that they're so lenient that maybe even b'dinei shamayim I'm not chayiv. And we're going to go through all 4 cases. That's why I didn't allow questions. We have to have time for that. 4 cases in which I would say that the mazik is so remote, so innocent. Havamina would be that even b'dinei shamayim is not chayiv. Why? Let's see why. Let's go through all 4 again. That's all reviewing again. Okay. He broke the wall of who? Of the pen, of the cow shed, whatever. Now the behema ran away. One would say, look, is really meant for what? What did you say about this wall? It's meant to be nistal. It's meant to be demolished. The area already put a sign to be demolished within, 15 days. Yeah. Mr. COVID, Ma'ovid, what did he do? He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. The wall is supposed to be broken anyways. I'm doing you a favor anyways. Why should it be chayiv? Even b'dinei shamayim it shouldn't be chayiv. Because really it's a public hazard. Yeah. Bedinei Shamayim nami lo l'chayiv. Maybe even in Bedinei Shamayim, Hashem loves you all the time, and Hashem doesn't care you did it because it's a nice thing you broke the wall. So maybe even for the animal that went out, you'd be potter, even Bedinei Shamayim. Says Tosfos, what? I was happy to see Tosfos. I freaked out when I saw it. Ma pitom, ma kesher. What? I don't know. My question. Only I'm allowed this question. Yeah. Okay. Why? It's Tosfos' question, not mine. What? The wall was supposed to be demolished. That's true. So on the wall is potter, Bedinei Shamayim, Bedinei anything. But the cow that went out, why should it be potter, Bedinei Shamayim on that? Answers Tosfos like this. Beautiful answer. That's Tosfos actually the end of the previous Amud. Says Tosfos because kol hakodim the mitzvah zacha. This is public hazard, mister. It's not like you're allowed to break the wall. You're supposed to break the wall. Your wall, demolish it and remove it and get the haulage. How do you call it? The haulage guy. The remover, the haulage. Yeah. So get that. You should break the wall safely. And if you didn't, Mr. Owner, the one who demolished it, he did a mitzvah. He actually helped the tzibur, helped the public not to be in a hazardous situation. Havimina would be that even though your animal went out, we don't care about your stupid animal because you mazik the rabbim. So if the person who broke your wall is actually doing a service to the public, so maybe part of the service to the public says, I don't have to stop the demolishing work, which is legal and good and encouraged because your behemoth may get out. Let your stupid behemoth go out and don't bother everybody else. That's a havamina. Yeah, you're losing, the public is losing more. Maybe your behemoth should have, from your behemoth. That's a havamina. Kamash Malan, no. Kamash Malan, the behemoth should have been careful. When demolishing the wall, which is the big mitzvah to help the tzibur, while doing it, you should have been careful. Don't throw the baby with the water, with the bath water. You should have tied the behemoth. You should have done something to keep the behemoth safe, not to make the bailim lose, and then demolish the wall separately. And if you didn't do it, you chayv bedinei shamayim. Next. A person poiritz gedel b'fnei be'emes chaver. What's a poiritz gedel? I'm sorry, no, we saw that. Excuse me. Next case, a koifet, kamoso shel chaveroi. The one who bent the kama, he somehow angled the kama in such a way that the fire is going to come, but the fire was not expected. It was ruach she'eino mitzuya. The fire was there, but the wind came unexpectedly. I would say he should be completely potter, and I understand it very well. He can say, I really had no idea that I'm not a prophet. I had no idea that the ruach she'eino mitzuya, that unexpected gust of wind would come now, middle of the summer. I had no idea. Maybe he's not chayiv, even in Bedinei Shamayim. Maybe even Hashem would really forgive him and understand him, and we should also be based in. For sure, he didn't know. Kamash Malan, no. What's a Kamash Malan? He should have thought about it. Wow, I saw that in the Rishonim. I didn't know, but the Rishonim says the Rosh says he should have thought even of Ruach She'eino Mitzuya. Because what are you doing, Bechlal, touching your friend's kama? Why are you touching Bechlal the thing, right? Why are you touching it to an area closer to the fire? Yeah, you should have thought that maybe the fire is going to come even in an unexpected way. You should be super careful because a human being should always be super careful. Now, Vele Rav Ashi, the Omar Nami Tomun Itma. Remember Rav Ashi's take on fire? What did he say? Tomun. This person is very sly. He covered quickly, took some tarp and covered the wheat and barley. Now the fire is going to come, and Mr. Fireman is going to be potu. Fire guy will be potu. What? How can a potter such a vicious person? Listen to this. Ma'al detema. You could say just the other way around. Who told you it's vicious? Akiva Taichtal is brainwashing you. Anak no, I did it for you. I covered it in tarp so the fire shouldn't consume it, shouldn't burn it. Really, I was on your side. How do you know? Maybe that was his kavana. We don't know his kavana. Let's say covered it with one of those, like those, you put it in the tables, whatever. There's some thick plastic. So it somehow minimizes or delays the fire. So I don't know what's his kavana. Either his kavana is really to protect from fire until the firefighters come, or maybe he's vicious and he wants that guy to be potter. I don't know. Maybe he really means well. Maybe he should not be Bedinei Shamayim either, because maybe his kavana is good. Kamash Malan, we don't view him so positively. We say no. Even if your kavanah was good, you should have known about Talmud. Halacha expects you to know halacha. Yeah. Okay. Not knowing the law doesn't exempt you, right? Mimela here too is saying you should have known better. And Lamaisa, now what are you doing? You are actually causing damage instead of stopping the damage because it's Talmud. You chai b'dinei shamayim. According to the Meiri, by the way, yeah. Also, you're not going to give edus and beis din. So even though we don't know what's in your heart, unfortunately, we'll have to be done lekaf choiva and assume the worst because maybe you meant worse. And maybe you can't be tested an edus and beis din. Edus and beis din is not a joke. Next, and that's one before the least. We only have two more cases. Quickly, bear with me. There's one who rented, who hired the edus sheker also. Madatema, he could say lema what Jeffrey was saying. I would say, so what if I hired them for money? It was their choice. They could tell me, they could have told me, take back your £1,000, and we were honest people. It was their choice to do what they did. They should have listened to the Rav, which is the Kodesh Baruch Hu, not to the Talmud, which is flesh and blood. But in Shemayim Nami Lo L'Chayev, maybe the person hiring edus sheker should be squeaky clean completely, even within Shemayim. Kamash Malan would say no. Once you give money to people, you adulate their brain, you play around with the brains, and it's, of course, it's their choice. Jeffrey is right. And shlichut v'avera. You're also at fault in the level of dinei shamayim. They're chayav, the real chiyuv. Of course, they're going to get the big punishment. They chose it. But the one who's the dinei shamayim convinced them, got them to do it with money, is chayav dinei shamayim. Last but not least, and then we finish the shiur. The one who held back his testimony. Nami also. He could say, how do you know? I'm just the one aid. How do you know that really, if I would come to Beis Din with one aid and the other guy, the one who hit you with the truck, would right away admit and say, oh, I'm so sorry, it was really my truck. Oh, shvua, I'm scared of shvua. It was really me. Oh, cameras, watching, crying. How do you know? How do you know that's a script? Dilma, maybe. Have a mishtaba l'shikra. Maybe that the truck driver would swear L'Sheker is not a nice guy. Maybe it would mishma L'Sheker also. Then my edus would have done 0. Maybe my edus would make a difference. But in Shemayim Nami Lo L'Chayev. So don't be mechayev me for being quiet. Maybe not even within Shemayim. Kamash Malon. Kamash Malon. No. You say since you can any kind of help and aid and assistance you can give in Beis Din as an aid, and you didn't, you're chayev within Shemayim. Thank you very much. See you tonight, 9:15. Or you can come earlier to the Mishmar. My own share in the Mishmar, 9:15 about Hanukkah, is right after Meiri, 9:15. There's also other very nice shiurim before and after. There's a nice meal over here, curry, chicken and curry. And everybody is invited to come. Thank you very much. May we have a very lichtige Hanukkah.